Good morning, everybody. I'm Steve Lander, Director of Pavement Management. Oh, we got to hit record. Is it recording? And today is Lunch and Learn, a solution to your reflective cracking issue. It's the ultimate stress-absorbing waterproof membrane. So we're going to be talking about FiberMat this morning here, and I hope everybody's doing well. And the intent of our Lunch and Learns is to introduce new products and our practices. And it's not a new product, but it might be new to you. So, and what we tell our clients is that you got to try these things out and maybe do a pilot program and just see how it works in your municipality. For those who need PDHs, we have a link which Deanne is going to be posting in the chat area. So you hit that link, you'll be able to fill out a form and you'll get PDHs after the presentation. We also have some other interesting links. We have one for Withers Ravenel Asset Management, Russell Standards website, and then we have Alyssa's email address as well as mine. So if for whatever reason we don't get to your questions during, or you don't post your questions, you can always ask us after this presentation. So just so you know that all of these Lunch and Learns are recorded. So if you need to share it with somebody else, or if you have to drop off and you want to see it later on, we can get you that link. And also too is that Alyssa will provide a PDF version of her presentation if you need it. Also too is that, and if you fill out the form, you're not going to get away from this, is that you got to let us know how we did today, how we can improve, and are there other subjects that that you would like for us to discuss at other Lunch and Learns. So when you're doing your PDH form, you have to tell us. But for those who don't, we would like to know your feedback. So the format is that Alyssa is going to be speaking for 40 to 45 minutes. And we're hoping that this is more of a conversation as much as it can be, with everybody being muted. So what we're going to do is we'll keep an eye on the chat, and as the questions come up, I might interrupt Alyssa and just see if we can get the question answered. Try to create more of a conversation than just a straight up presentation. So anyway. So we're talking about FiberMat today, and so it's pretty it's a cool innovative product for preservation, and I know Alyssa's super excited to tell you about it. You know, it's always fun when there's a new product to introduce. And so Alyssa, Micco, I pronounced it wrong, Micco. Alyssa earned her BS in chemistry for Geneva College in 2017. She started with Russell Standard in 2021 in the Research and Development Lab, and she transitioned to specialty sales. She promotes pavement preservation and new products. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Alyssa.
Well, thank you, Steve. I have a presentation to show you guys today about something that's, I always say, near and dear to my heart because it's one of my favorite tools for a pavement preservation toolbox. And it is FiberMat. FiberMat is a great solution to your reflective cracks, and I hope that I can share the information with you guys today. So let's go through the agenda real quick. For those of you who don't know who Russell Standard is, I will give a brief introduction, and then we will be asking some questions. What is FiberMat? Why do we want to use FiberMat? And then we will talk about the two different applications of FiberMat. I'll show you one of my favorite case studies in Murray, New York on Groth Road. And then we'll talk about how it works and the benefits of FiberMat. So, who is Russell Standard? Since 1929, we've worked hard to continuously improve all things that matter, from the pavement to the people that use it. But we're not done there. When you're unmatched all the way around, you're always finding new ways to move forward. We're here to help serve agencies, DOTs, contractors, consulting engineer, and anyone involved in industrial applications. Okay.
It's stick.
Yeah. Oh, wait, there's a button. Oh, that worked.
There we go. Good.
Fixed it. Um, Russell Standard knows material. We are material manufacturers. For almost 100 years, Russell Standard has manufactured asphalt solutions with plants across the mid-Atlantic. We actually have two located right in North Carolina. We have one in Greensboro and one in Black Mountain. We are also contractors. We apply material so we understand how it works in the field, on the road, and what it takes to succeed. And we're researchers. Our world-class lab is continuously testing, innovating new products, and we ensure quality and perform R&D on new solutions. And if you guys are ever up in Mercer and you want to tour the lab, give me a buzz. So what is FiberMat? FiberMat sandwiches fiberglass between two layers of emulsion, using only about 2 to 4 ounces of fiberglass per square yard, and it creates a flexible mat with high tensile strength. And this photo kind of chops up a FiberMat job. So we all know what the orange traffic cones and the chip seal on top is. But a little more unusual photo is that one on the top left. That's about the size of the fiberglass whenever it goes through the fiberglass cutting bars. In that picture underneath is the emulsion with the fiberglass in it, and someone's just pulling up on it to demonstrate the elasticity of the FiberMat. What makes FiberMat a smart decision? FiberMat is an inexpensive addition to a chip seal or a thin overlay that prevents reflective cracking. It dramatically increases the life of your treatment, reducing the number and expense of additional treatments, and in turn, it leads to significant savings over time on the road. The road will stay at a significantly higher IRI for the life of the treatment. So, some applications. Where'd my little button go? There it is. Okay, so what makes FiberMat super unique, in my opinion, is that there's two ways you can use it. There's the type A, which is a super absorbent membrane, or a SAM is what we call it. And that's just when you have a chip seal as your wearing course. So this little demonstration on our left is of a type A. And you can see the emulsion or the binder, the chopped fiberglass, the binder, and then the aggregate. And typically we see aggregate of sizes about 1/8 to a 1/2 inch, and anywhere in between. Anything that you guys would typically use for a chip seal, you can use for a type A FiberMat. And this is a really nice way to extend if you have a lot of chip seal roads, if you want more longevity out of them, this is a really nice way to get that longevity. And then we have a type B FiberMat, or we like to call this a SAMI, which stands for super absorbent membrane interlay. And this is just when you use the FiberMat as an interlayer instead of a finishing course. So again, you're going to have your emulsion, your fiberglass, and your emulsion kind of sandwiched together. And you're going to have some aggregate, but this is not going to be applied as heavily. This will be applied between 15 to 17 pounds per square yard. So it's kind of like salt and peppered on to the emulsion layer.
And Alyssa, you're getting ready to do one with a Micro too, right?
Yep, up in Pennsylvania, and we're super excited about that. Not only is it going to extend the life of your Micro because it's going to prevent those reflective cracks from coming through, it's going to just it's all the benefits of FiberMat with the nice rideability of Micro. So if you have an area where you have bicycle lanes, you're not going to get the annoying calls like, hey, I can't ride my bicycle as well because you guys chip sealed here. But
Yep.
you get the longevity.
Yep. Goes a long way in the subdivisions with curb and gutter.
For sure. Um, I want to talk about this case study. This is about a 13-year-old case study, and this was done in Murray, New York, and it speaks for itself. And this was done with a type A FiberMat, so this was FiberMat as a finished course. So there is nothing on top, no thin lay, no Micro. So this study indicates it's time for a shift in thinking. Instead of talking about your cost per square yard, we're gonna talk and think about your equivalent annualized cost. Um, and that's something, if you guys want more information about, you guys can email me after the presentation because there's a spreadsheet that I can send to you guys, with most of the information coming from roadresource.org. But let's just dig into the case study. So, Standard has over 10 years of performance data of Groth Road in Murray, New York. The project was completed in the fall of 2003 and provided us with a side-by-side proving ground in location with cold winters and warm summers. So we have a lot of freeze-thaw cycles in Murray, New York. We serving as a control lane, one was treated with a chip seal with the life expectancy of 5 to 7 years, and the left lane was actually treated with a type A FiberMat with the life expectancy of 7 to 10 years. So here is the first round of photos from Murray, New York, starting with the photo on the far left of March of 2004. This was taken 6 months after the initial installation, and the right lane is our CRS2P side, and the left lane is our FiberMat side. And you can see some longitudinal cracking has already appeared 6 months after the installation. And going to the right of January 2005, you can see some snowplow damage along the center line and in the wheel path on our CRS2P side, where if you look at our left side, our FiberMat side, there's not much damage happening there. And let's jump to January 2006. So you can see after the third winter of Murray, New York, or Groth Road in Murray, New York, further snowplow damaged and water started pumping up after the third winter. You can see this on our right side, our CRS2P side. You can see some areas on our FiberMat side, but they're not as extensive as our right lane. In 2007, the damage continued. Now we have water pumping up from the sub base, and look at that alligator cracking in our CRS2P side. It is extensive, it is down the road, we have lots of edge cracking as well, but our FiberMat side, while you can see some distress on it, it's not to the point of our CRS2P side. In June of 2008, repairs were actually needed in order to maintain this road for public safety. And it wasn't anything major, it wasn't a thin lift, it was just your typical cold mix patching and some crack seal. But you can see even in 2008, there's still some edge cracking going on our Sierra's 2P side, and our FiberMat side is still in great condition. And we'll jump to the next photos. So this photo on the right was in October of 2009, and this was after we had to fix the road for public safety issues. But you can still see on our right lane some edge cracking. There's a pretty deep longitudinal crack, and on our FiberMat side, you can see some edge cracking, but it's nowhere near as extensive. And 3 years after the photo on the left, the photo on the right was taken. And you can just see all that alligator cracking came right back. You can see all the edge cracking and the big fear with alligator cracking, because we all know it's going to turn into some serious potholes, especially when you have freeze-thaw cycles. But our FiberMat side does not appear to have any of that. Our FiberMat side still looks almost like it did in June of 2008. So now this is the final picture I have of Groth Road. And this photo was taken in 2016. This was 13 years after the original FiberMat CRS2P installation. In 2014, they put a Nova chip on top, and a Nova chip is a co-loss product. It's essentially a thin lift. But you can see even 2 years after the addition of the thin lift, you look down our chip seal lane and you see all that crack fill going down the lane. And our FiberMat lane has a couple of I call them black snakes. They have a couple of the black snakes, but it's nowhere near as extensive as our chip seal side. So our left lane, the application started in 2003, and the emulsion that we used was a CRS2P and FiberMat. And then in 2014, we got a Nova chip and some minor crack seal. Now, the exact cost of those, I'm not sure offhand, but I'm sure it is far less expensive than our right lane, which started in 2003 with a CRS2P. Then in 2009, we needed to do chip seal repairs. Then in 2014, we did Nova chip with some crack seal. So just the addition of this chip seal in 2009, we totally avoided that with the FiberMat, which is going to save your agency money in the long run, which is good news all around. So we have some additional research available upon request. It's the full in-depth version or full in-depth study from Texas A&M with their TTI overlay. It's a lot to look at on a slideshow. So if anyone would like any additional research, please feel free to reach out. But this is the TTI overlay tester in a small bite size format. And essentially, the TTI overlay tester gets a hot mix block, and there's two steel plates, and one rotates to simulate the traffic going over top, and one stays stationary. And our example on the left is just a normal CRS2P using as an interlay, and the one on the right is a FiberMat interlay. They painted the blocks white to really accentuate the crack in them, and you can see on our left, our CRS2P interlay, that crack went the whole way through the block. There was no stopping it. But on our FiberMat side, the crack started, it got up to the FiberMat layer, and it had nowhere to go because that FiberMat network is so strong that it kind of had to shoot out to the side. And we saw improved cracking resistance 3 to 4 times more than our control sample. And larger FiberMat samples, so FiberMat samples that had a larger interlayer, survived 14 times longer than our control samples did. So again, if anyone wants the full in-depth, it'll tell you the schematic of the TTI overlay tester and everything. Just feel free to reach out and I'll send that to you. So we talked a lot about the cool side of FiberMat, the case study, what it is, but how does it work? Well, it starts with your site selection. And a good road candidate for FiberMat is roads of all traffic volumes. In 2005, I want to say, NCAT used FiberMat as a test subject on Interstate 280, which is a high ADP road. It connects Opelika, Alabama to Columbus, Georgia. And there's a lot of traffic from the airport going into Auburn. There's a lot of heavy truck traffic because of logging routes. And they put FiberMat on 280 and it withstand a lot of traffic. And then in 2023, I was in Opelika, Alabama, and we put it on state or County Road 179. And it was a lower traffic volume, but it served its job and it is still crack-free to this day. FiberMat's great for going over concrete or milled surfaces, and you don't need a scratch course for it to go over like you would if you were using a typical geotextile. And we always recommend any potholes or cracking larger than an eighth of an inch, and any wheel rutting should be corrected before the FiberMat goes down, because FiberMat's going to increase your tensile strength, flexibility, and reduce your reflective cracking. It's not going to fix your base issues because it is a surface treatment. How is FiberMat made? Well, the FiberMat machine simply sandwiches the fiberglass in between the layers of emulsion. And there's a computer guided system that cuts the fiber mat to its ideal size. And then the aggregates just immediately placed and rolled over top. We always recommend following, if you're working in North Carolina, to follow NCDOT's best chip seal practices because they are tried and proven true and they are a great complement for FiberMat. And if you guys want to get more in depth, if you follow the link for Russell Standard's site and you hit all applications and you scroll to FiberMat, there is a video that will go in depth over cutting bars and computer guided system. I have this screenshot from the video just to explain the specialty of the FiberMat buggy. So we have a spray bar that delivers half of your emulsion. Then there is the cutting bars for, or cutting wheels for the fiberglass. And then there is a third spray bar that gives the second half of the CRS2P or CRS2L emulsion. The shot rate for FiberMat is about the same as your normal CRS2P. But this system just breaks that in half just so that fiberglass gets covered up. So what materials would you need? As anything that is a CRS2P or 2L or a CRS1P or 1L. I know some states don't necessarily use polymer modified, and that's okay. We use latex modified in North Carolina, and it works just as well. You typically the aggregate that we see uses about 1/8 to 1/2 an inch. The fiberglass, but we will provide that as contractors. The FiberMat machine, which we provide as contractors, and cooperating weather conditions. Since FiberMat is emulsion based, you do not want to do this when it's raining, and you don't want to do it with the chance of freezing. You just really want to follow best chip sealing practices when handling FiberMat.
You were saying 48 hours is what you want to try to get between your rain event and putting it down.
Absolutely. That way it has a time to cure and set, and the stone really gets embedded. So here are a couple of our completed jobs that we've done. One of them's from Pennsylvania, and there's a few from North Carolina. Um, these are all the jobs that we've done in Pennsylvania, and these numbers represent the project days it took us. I don't know why this says North Carolina up here. I'm geographically challenged, so that was on me. But so we have completed 7 full days of work of FiberMat in that's Butler County, Pennsylvania. We've done 15 full project days in, I think this is Irwin County. I can't see because the 15 is covering it up. But as you can see, we've done a lot of work up here in Pennsylvania. So if you're ever in the neighborhood, give me a call. We can go for a little road trip. But if you guys want to keep it local, here's some jobs that we've done in North Carolina. This was in Mecklenburg, North Carolina. It's Fullwood Lane. It was about 12,800 square yards, and this was a type A FiberMat or a SAM. And this was just a small job, a little over 1/2 mile, and it had 2 sections on Fullwood Lane. The first was about 2,466 feet, and the other one was roughly 500 feet. And it's a 3-lane section with a long turning lane, and it was 26 feet wide, which is why it was so many square yards. And then we did one in Rockingham County, North Carolina. And this was broken into 2 different roads, which are represented on the map with the red line and the little blue line. And again, this was a type A FiberMat.
And those were DOT projects?
Yes, this project on the screen now in Cramerton, this was a private road, I want to say, and that's why there's not a lot of information because I couldn't pull up the contracts for it. This was not my job. This was Sid Whitmer's job.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good resource if anyone wants to reach out to him too. But this again was a type A FiberMat, so this is when the FiberMat's used as the wearing course. And this is a job a little closer to my home. This is in Cecil Township, Pennsylvania, and this was a type A fiber mat. And as you can see, we prepped the road by doing our crack fill. And then this picture right below, right here, that is our distributor pulling the fiber mat buggy. And then our chipper is right behind. And we did our stone on top, but we took it up a notch for this job because we did a fog seal on top, and it gives that look of a hot mix road without being the expense of a hot mix road.
Hey, we had a question about the NCDOT projects. Was there a pavement design used for the FiberMat?
Yes, we do have pavement. The one I have off the top of my head on my computer was the one in Blythe. We had a design formulation all set up to go. The other jobs, I'm not sure if we just, because it's a spreadsheet, I don't know if we just plugged in what we were using. But if you need information on that, I'd be super happy to get it for you.
Yep.
Um, I'm just going to go through a summary of benefits of FiberMat. Um, FiberMat is long lasting because it greatly reduces your reflective cracking and extends the life of a chip sealed road for 10 years. We say 10 years because that's a good ballpark. But we have a road in North Carolina in Nash County, Old Route 64, that has been, it was done in 2013 and it is still crack free to this day. And it protects against snowplow damage. Now, I know not a lot of folks down south see a snowplow, but I know parts of North Carolina gets more snow than I see. Um, FiberMat is cost effective. Um, So typically what we see in Pennsylvania when they go to redo a road, we see a mill and fill, which they wait for it to get to the absolute worst before they can when you can't do pavement preservation. So they do a mill and fill. But if you just or if you want to swing a couple more dollars per square yard into a fiber mat, you would end up saving $582,000 instead of letting it deteriorate to the point of a mill and fill. And FiberMat's versatile. You can use it on roads of all traffic volumes. It works great with concrete and asphalt. It's effective in warm and cold weather climates. It can be applied in two ways, as a wearing course or as an interlayer. And it's easily recycled with conventional equipment, unlike a lot of paving fabrics. So if you guys wanted to rip it up in 10 years and want to use a wrap, it is totally safe to use. And it's quick. There's a fast application process because it's emulsion based and very much like a chip seal. You can get slow moving traffic on it in 15 minutes. We always put 30 minutes because sometimes if the humidity's high, it might take a little bit longer for it to cure.
Got another question here. Is the time between stone placement and the capping with Micro similar to a Cape seal? And then is there much loss of aggregate on the shoulder or gutter pan?
So for the timing with Micro, it would be the exact same timing as it would be for a Cape seal. As for stone loss, I will have to look into that and I can get back to you.
Yeah, so I guess do you guys sweep when you place the stone and then you roll it in, and then you're
Mm-hmm.
probably running a sweeper on it just to get any loose stone.
Yeah. Typically, we wait about like a week before we come through and sweep, just so if
Yeah.
any, yeah, use cars to your advantage. But I will get that information to you, Steve.
Okay.
But that is all I have for my presentation today. Thank you guys so much.
Hey, so have you guys tried it on parking lots?
We have done a couple fiber mat parking lots. I can get the information to you and see how that turned out.
Yeah, I would
That was
think.
in Butler County.
See, I
Pennsylvania.
would think, micros and parking lots don't really do that great, and typically folks don't chip seal parking lots. But I would think that using it as a SAMI would really go a long way, because I know the folks will chip seal and overlay parking lots and also roads. So that's might be something that someone could put in their toolbox for a parking lot.
Oh, for sure. We've done it in Butler County, Pennsylvania. I'll get the job specifics and see if anyone has photos of it, because photos are, you know, they speak for themselves.
Hey,
But
so
yeah,
Alyssa, I think what always comes to folks' mind is that, how much, and this is kind of, I know, puts you on the spot, and it depends upon the size of the project and where it is, but what's a typical range for the fiber mat per square yard?
well, we can do 230 feet per minute, so we can get a lot done in a day. Um, but I've seen jobs as small as 500 feet to jobs as large as 10 miles, like we did in Alabama a couple years ago.
So what would you need, so if a municipal client says, we want to get started, we just want to do a pilot,
Hmm.
and they're in North Carolina, say, and how much area would you need for it to be worthwhile for you guys to come down and worthwhile for them to do?
Typically, for a pilot project, we would like to see around maybe 500 square yards, just so it's enough to get a tanker to come out.
Gotcha.
Hmm.
So we had private driveways. Have you guys done it on some private streets
We've
or
done it on
driveways?
private streets, but not private driveways.
Gotcha.
We don't do a lot of driveways as a company just because we do strictly pavement preservation.
Hey, so back cost per square yard
So
range.
cost per square yard would be about the cost of a double chip seal in your area. So if you are around Division 5 and your double chip seal is $4.10, FiberMat's going to be about $4.10 as well.
I gotcha.
Hmm.
Now, as far as if someone said, "Hey, we got a project coming up," how long in advance would you guys need? Because I know and all contractors face this, right? There's only
Yeah.
so many crews, right? So what would be like a lead time that if they said, "Hey, we're thinking about bidding this out with your product," when would you be able to get to it?
Well, if it's in the project things for 10 days, like if it's in the bid package that it has to be done at that time, we will try our best to just be there in the 10 days.
I gotcha. Yeah, and
Mhm.
when we bid these things, we try to give the contractor some flexibility, because otherwise the costs go way up. Because if you have to come down just for that, and
Yeah.
it creates some problems. Let's see. Are there any grade restrictions, for example, in the North Carolina mountains?
You know, that's something I'll have to look into because that's actually a problem that we were just facing a couple weeks ago when we were doing our project in Division 14 is going up those steep grades.
Hey, here's another great question: is the experience with cul-de-sacs, right? The fun cul-de-sacs.
Oh, see here, this is where FiberMat, our buggy, gets like it's super cool because it actually has an adjustable distributor arm. So when we go around turns, we can actually pull in our arm and
Right.
yeah, so we love doing cul-de-sacs with our FiberMat buggy.
Yeah, the micro folks don't feel the same way.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, well, it's just one of those things. Cul-de-sacs are just a real pain to pave. They're a pain to micro.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of a pain all around. But yeah, had some good questions come in. Upcoming projects. So we had talked earlier. We got about 30 people on right now. We had 17 when we started. So projects that are coming up, possible lunch and learn.
Yes. So the second week of July, I will be in Charlotte getting some information together about doing a FiberMat project in the Charlotte area. And once we get something down on paper, I will love if you guys want to come out. I'll bring my tiny grill and we can even grill hot dogs on the side of the road.
We might hold you to that, you know.
That's okay.
Yeah. So is there anything else? We're a little early here, but I know folks don't mind getting some time back and grab some lunch. Anything you want to leave before we close out the session?
If you guys have any questions or anything, please feel free to reach out to me. Sid Whitmer is our North Carolina sales representative. He's also a fantastic resource. He's been around since FiberMat started getting piloted here in the United States.
Just throwing some bluegrass with the hot dogs. Is there significant difference between the life extension of type 1 and type 2?
We don't typically see a significant difference. We mostly see the difference compared to chip seals. So, chip seals up in Pennsylvania last from 3 to 5 years, and our FiberMat chip seals last anywhere from 7 to 10 years up here. And we're seeing a similar trend in North Carolina as well.
So, you know, I think with any type of treatment that we're talking about here, is you got to try it, right?
Yeah.
You got to see how it works and maybe go out and look at projects that are in other areas and we're certain more than you know, we'd love to help you out and get you to those areas to look at it for yourself and give it a try. I mean, it's the only way that we're going to move away from strictly doing mill and fills and reconstructs, right? We have to broaden the toolbox. And, you know, one of the things that I'd like to mention here is that as a recommendation of where this applies on the deterioration curve is typically between like an 81 and a 65. That's kind of the ballpark. Could
Steve, I think your audio's off. Yep.
patchwork and that you do crack seal to take care of those cracks that are a quarter inch and greater, because that's when the material can be received by the crack itself. I think that's it for questions. So I think we're going to wrap up early here. And Alyssa, thank you for presenting. It's pretty cool. Hey, so by the way, everybody, you got to meet Sid. Sid's one of those guys that just like he'll talk your ear off about pavement like I'll do. And I'm really surprised that we haven't caught up. And I need to spend some time with Sid, but a definite resource in our area. But thank you, Alyssa, for presenting to us today. I'd like to thank everybody for attending today. And so our next Lunch and Learn to be July. It's really hard to believe that the year's halfway over. What happened to it? But anyway, so our topic is creating accurate roadway asset inventories through artificial intelligence. So that's signs, that's, you know, water valves, manholes, curb and gutter, sidewalk, anything that's out there can be collected with the AI. And that's Jason Trotter with Transconomy, and that'll be Wednesday, July 31st at 11:30 a.m. So everybody have a great day, and thanks for attending. And by the way, if you're not on my list, send me an email and I can get you on the list. You'll get those emails each month, just 2 of them, and we're not going to bug you. So anyway, have a great day, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you, everyone.